Hello, S1 students. I hope that you already finished your isometric drawing with a very beautiful building with your initial in it. And today you are going to use the new media. I think maybe a few of you have used it in the primary school. We will use the watercolor in coloring your whole building. So let's look at it, how we can make a good work. Okay, so students, to begin with, I just want to introduce all the materials you are going to use in a watercolor drawing. So first of all, you should have the watercolor, and you can see that the amount of watercolor we prepare on the palette is actually very little. And because if we add color on it, there will be quite a lot of amount of color we can use. And this dish, usually we won't wash it. So it is a good news for you because whatever we add color, we can use it again. And for palettes, usually Miss Anne will prepare 2 palettes. Later on, you will know why. And if you say, I don't have one more palette at home, what should I do? So I would suggest you can find a cardboard at home, just like me, a rough cardboard. And then you can just apply a layer of cling wrap into it so that you can prepare your own palettes afterward. Okay, so you can just write it up like this. Okay. Also, besides the palettes, we also need 2 cups of water. One is clean water, and the other one later on we'll wash it so it will become dirty later on. So for watercolor, water is very important. Always keep a cup of clean water with you. And then besides that, we have a towel for drying the brush. And also, you should have your own brushes. You can see I have a lot of brushes here, and they are all soft, okay? Some are in the tip top, and some it is in a flat top, okay? So, and last but not least, you also need some testing paper for testing the color here. So just find some recycled paper that you can use it. So, and then now we'll move on to the coloring part. So, just want to recap some of the steps you have done it before. So before coloring it, you should have your draft transfer on the tracing paper, and then you will have a sharp, maybe a blue ball pen or black ball pen, but I would suggest some color pencil that is without ink already. That would be perfect for you to outline all those lines again, you remember? So this part you have to add a little bit force in order to let those marks on your drawing. So last time I have shown you this already. So if you remember that, if you look at your drawing closely, then you will see those marks have already left behind on your paper, and it won't have any color on the top. Okay? So now we are going to show you how you can use the watercolor. So for using the watercolor, we have 2 main skills. One is called wet on wet. So the first one, what we can do. So first of all, I would like to color bigger area is here, okay? The background of the building. So we can use wet on wet this method. So first of all, get your brush ready and then tip a little bit water. So remember, this is clean. Later on, this one will become dirty. And afterward, you can just paint a layer of clear water on the top. Okay, so there's a clear water here. And then afterward, then you need to have the other brush. So always have more than one brush with you. So as you can see that I have 2 palettes here. So because the first palette, I always need to keep it clean. The water should, the color should be clean. So I just take the color to the other palettes to use it. So we won't use white color in watercolor. If you want to make your color light, what you need to add is just water. So because I have a very thin layer of water on the watercolor paper, so if I add the color on the top, then you can see that it will dissolve. So if it is dried up very quickly, then I would suggest you can add a little bit more water onto it. So you can see that the color just gently blend according to the flow of those water. And at the same time, you can use the other brush and then to add or mix the other color into it. So get some clear water, and then this time I would like to have some orange color. And then add on the top. So you can see the water is going to dissolve again, and then mix with my first layer of color. Okay, so sometimes you have to let it dry a little bit to see the effect. And then later on, we will move on to how to use the other skills of drawing those details. So see you later. Okay, so S1 students, I hope that you already learned about how to use the wet on wet skill. And then now we'll move on to the next one, which is called the dry brush. For dry brush, usually I will draw those very tiny area, just like the balcony here. There's a very thin line, which is quite suitable for using the dry brush. So what you need to do, again, remember I have washed all my brushes in the dirty water, and then now I can use the clear water again. So what you have to do, I need to get some blue color again from my original palette and then to my second one. So sometimes I would like to add or mix the other color into it. So can you see that when I get the color, I will just take the edge of it to mix with it. So don't get all those colors together, because if you do it like this, then you cannot control the amounts that you need, or maybe there's too much of color that you put on the top. And then afterward, then you can just paint those lines with the color. And if you want to mix the other color, again, you can add the other color or just merge it in the intersect, the jointing part. And then add it to the top. So as you can see that this method it will be easier for you to control the amount of water, and then that you can draw very tiny area. So some of the time, if the color is still wet, I will somehow mix the color on the top. So you can see that if I add a little bit blue color on the top of the brown, then it will somehow blend together smoothly. So by adding the other color on the top, it will create a vintage mood to my drawing. So always mix some color and then let the water do the work, and then you will see the effect. Okay, so I hope that in this drawing you